Hi everyone. I'm just going to make some adjustments. It's Wednesday and I have some fun things to show you. So, while we're waiting for people to sign on, I'm going to turn my computer on and see if I'm backwards, forwards, or somewhat in between. So hopefully I'm straight. We'll see. We shall see. Another beautiful day out there. Let's see. Let's see where my hand's coming. There's a delay, so I'm really getting... So I'm just going to kind of see where my hands are now. Okay, I'm sideways. Let me see if I turn it. So you guys are going to get dizzy for a while. Let's see how this is. Well, we're going to leave it like this for today until I could figure it out again. So I had the opportunity to take a class yesterday, actually over the past 2 days with a couple companies. And yesterday we took a class from Pink Fresh, and I am going to share some of the things that I learned and that we did with you. So we're using a stencil from Pink Fresh, and these were waiting to get in. So if anybody wants one, we'll go back. Or Donna's watching. So Donna, if you keep a list of people that want this stencil, I would appreciate that. It's called the Simple Plaid from Pink Fresh. We're going to be using that. And then we're using the stamp and die from Pink Fresh called It's a New Day. Let's see. Move to the right. I don't know why I'm having so many issues. Okay, is that centered, guys? Because I will I'll kind of frame in. Let's see if that's going to work. Okay, I think that's what it's going to be. So anyways, I'm going to start off by showing you just kind of a fun little coloring with this 2-part stencil. Do this over here, and I'm using that wonderful yellow tape just to kind of anchor everything. And I have my brushes, so I'm going to be using my Tailored Expressions brushes. I find it easy to find all the colors and not mess anything up. So I'm actually going to start with, I think, some green. I'm using a dye-based ink. And these happen to be Hero Arts. So I'm just inking up my brush. And using the first stencil. And just remember to keep going in a circular motion. Once you kind of stop, that's when you get those little marks. And I'm just going to go a little bit up into that top 2 quadrants. And now I'm going to use Tide Pool. And go in the other direction. And I want them to kind of overlap in the middle. I did one, you'll see the one that I completed, I did in pinks and oranges, turned out really pretty. Okay, so we have that first stencil, and now we're going to use, this is a 2-part stencil, and we're going to use the second layer. So let me just take this back. Just kind of wipe the top of this stencil off to remove any of the ink. And just kind of line this plaid up. I think I'm good. And once again, I'm going to go with the blue again over the blue. If I would put the green on top, it would be the same, color at the top and the bottom. I kind of want this graduation of color, from the blue going into the green. And now I'm going to go back with my green. Once again, overlap a little bit. And you can always take a peek, and then voila. And I'll cut this off and layer it and mat it onto a card later. But what a kind of cool, background paper that you can make with this stencil. You can use the single, just this by itself, and you can use that square by itself, or you can use them together. So I'm going to be putting this into a card later, but I wanted to show you that. So the stamp set that I used, it's a new day. I think we're waiting for the stencils to come in. A lot of things have been, like everybody else, back ordered. But there's a die and there's a stamp. And the cool thing about what Pink Fresh is doing now, and the same thing in a lot of their slim lines, in their stamp sets, everything is on, for the most part, on one stamp. So that when you go to stamp your design, you have this kind of look. So you'll have everything all stamped in on one sheet, and your die fits perfectly over all of them to cut them all out at the same time. If you remember, we would always stamp the flower, then we find the little die and place that over, and then do the leaves and so on. So by having it all in one unit, you get to just stamp everything at once and cut everything at once, which I think is like amazing. Somebody was so smart to think of that. For me, the issue was, that was a pain, but I would forever be losing one of those dies. And so this way, the fact that it's all in one piece, you're less likely to have that be an issue. So I'm going to move this off to the side. So in this stamp and die set, you can do the traditional. And here I was coloring with my Copics. And I'll cut this one out. So you could stamp and color. You can color with pencils, Copics, whatever you like. Suzanne, I got your email, so I'll either get it out today or tomorrow in the mail. Okay, so kind of have that all lined up. Let me just die cut this real quick. So now I have all my little pieces to create a card. And you know, the thing is, if you don't want all of them, you know, just put them in a little baggie and keep them off to the side. And one day when you're in a hurry and you have to make a bunch of cards, you know, just go in that little baggie and pull some, you know, the pieces out and put them together, and there you go. So that one was just colored with Copics. Another card, let's see. I have the images stamped again. We're going to use inks and the stencil. And talk about fast and easy. This is another way to make some really quick cards. There are 4 stencils in this set. You have the background of the flowers, and then you have detail to the flowers. You have the background of the leaves, and you have the detail to the leaves. In this particular card, I am just going to use the background. And once again, you can see how everything lines up perfectly. And we'll just kind of center this. And I think I'm gonna go with these 2 colors. So I'm gonna get my yellow. I had to start with a new brush. I brought my brushes to class, made it very clear that yellow is for yellow, and apparently somebody didn't listen. So I did try washing it, but yellow is such a, you know, that light color. Once you put a darker color on there, you're kind of not so good with it. So I'm going to use my yellow and ink these flowers up. This is kind of the fastest coloring you guys will ever do using these stencils. And I'm using the Taylor brushes. These are the regular size set. They do have the little mini, which are nice for small little areas. And then what I like doing, I'm going to go in and add some of this pink. This is an ombre pad, so it has a light, medium, and dark, so I'm going to try to stick with the light. And then on the ends, I'm going to go in and add another color. So look how cool that looks, just by adding another color. So this is that pink and yellow. And do the same thing to all these. And if you can see, like I just keep rotating. Oh, that little flower there. So I'm done. I'm actually done coloring this. And look how pretty those colors are. Now we find the leaves. I'm going to do the same thing with the leaves. And I'm going to use the green that I had pulled out. And even I'll just show you here, even if I use one color green, can you see I kind of put a light coat over the whole thing, and then down at the bottom I'm just going back with that one color, and you can see that just with your brush alone you can create a shade of color. So I'm kind of concentrating down at the base over here and getting that darker. And then you could, if you wanted, I only pulled out these 4 colors of inks, but I could go and add a little cast of blue in there. I think would be pretty. And then you have your design, like colored. Just make sure that you go and clean your stencils when you're done. And I'll go over and die cut this. And I'll go back and clean them better, but I just want to get a lot of the top ink off. Okay, and let me line this up and cut these out so I can show you what they look like cut out. Okay, give me a second, I'm going to go cut this. And here are the images that were inked just with the stencil. I'll put these down so you can see, and here they are with the Copic markers. The ink that I was using, I'm using all Hero Arts. I love Hero Arts. I love their colors, and I love their inks. We don't sell a lot of them. We probably, I keep them in stock because I love them. But any dye-based, you know, you could use Distress, but we tend to use Distress all the time, and, you know, the same colors, and I wanted to, use a different companies. So we have those flowers, which I'll work on in the next couple days, and I'll make a card and I'll finish those up. And the next card I want to show you is this card. And this is done, move this up here, with the 2-part stencil. And I'm just going to do one of them real quick so you can kind of see what I did. I cut my paper. I think it's 3.5 by 4 3/4, and I just laid one stencil, then another, and I moved it. So if you do the whole stencil by itself, let me just go back with this pink again. Just to quickly show you what I did. So I inked with one color. You can go back with another color or darker. I had a darker color, but this is a tricolor pad, so it has 3 colors in it. So that's the first one. And now I have to line this stencil up. It should line up pretty much like this. You can put it underneath or on top, and I'm going to go with the darker colors at the top here. And that's how these flowers in this grouping were created. So I used a light pink, I used a little reddish pinky color, an orange, and a yellow. And then I did the leaves with green. So now I'm going to just kind of clean this up really quick. And we're using an alphabet set from them. It's called Leah's Ornate Lowercase. One of the things, they do put a magnet in there, but the magnet's not strong enough, so the letters fly out all over. So what I had done earlier is I took that blue, and through the center of this paper I used my sponge to create that look. Now I did have, give me a second guys, because I die cut the H, the O, and the 2 of the L's earlier. And oh, I can't find it. Well, let me just die cut this real quick to show you what I'm trying to achieve. Maybe what I'll do is do the I and find the H again. Somewhere in this, and I was actually really organized today. Here's the H. Let me just move this over. I'll tape these down. And I'm going to die cut these. And so if that doesn't work, get your poker out. Got our little poker. With these, you get an outline die, and if you can see, there's a nice outline that you can always use too, but we're just going to use the solid part. So we're going to get this kind of like little ombre look going on with these alphabets. And there's the E once I find my other pieces of my alphabet. Let me just check, make sure it's not underneath my computer. Nope. So anyways, when you put this together, a good way is actually if you have this grid on here, you can line everything up. And I was going to show you with my hello because I had it taped already. Move these off to the side. And if you get this all lined up, especially if it's a longer word and you have it right where you want, you can actually just take your tape and then place it where you want. You can put your adhesive, you can put your pop dots down, so on and so forth. I'm going to save this one for another one, and I guess on Saturday I'll have to show you the finish. I did hello. I needed the E. So once I find the other pieces, we're going to put that on there and pop this up onto this card. So for now, you got to use your imagination until maybe by the end of this video, I'll find my taped letters. So this is one card that was done with that stamp and die and stencil set. So here was the stencil alone to create a card. This one I found very different for me, but I like it. Here I used that stencil background and created that orange and pink background. I have the high in an ombre. And here are the stamps, the flower designs, just in white. I need to go and at least put Wink of Stella on here. But, you know, this actually looks really nice. Then I made, I have another card that I'm working on. And this time, I just stamped it on this paper from Simple Stories. And it's their dot section, or the dot papers, and I love it because it's a tone on tone. So I just stamped these in black and cut them out. And, you know, maybe we could put the high there. I need to pop these up and finish that. And I put a little mat around, but you can see how, like, really super fast cards. Just by playing, you know, Just moving them around and, definitely popping this. But, once again, a really fast card. Here is another card. Here is that circle that was on the table from the Pink Fresh, their new release, where it created this kind of design on the frame. You have the circle that also has the line in the inside, but if I would mat this, and I was thinking of, putting this flower on. Sorry about that. And finishing this. So more couple things to finish, and here, even on here, this could be on the outside, and you can put a sentiment there. I mean, like, you could just keep going on and on with these. And the last card that I wanted to show you, I did this one, and this one was done with the stencils and the brushes. And I don't know if you can see, but close up, I used one of my stencils and I put this kind of watermark little design on the background. This is a penny black stamp, but these were done, once again, with the brushes. I used a blue and I added purple in the flowers, and I used 2 different greens for the leaves. And the last thing I just wanted to show you with these are these new gems that came in from Pink Fresh. They come in all different colors, and we're just going to add a couple of these. There's like 3 different sizes in here. And I had showed you the little jar filled with all the different colors. And this is, I think, the hardest part of making a card for me, is where to put these sequins. Is there a rhyme or a reason to it? Sometimes I just have better luck when I just throw them onto the paper. And wherever they land, that's where they land. Okay. And they're a flat back. And I took my little jewel picker home, and I don't have one here. So just putting a dot of glue. So I have a little bit of homework tonight to put the rest of these cards together. So you can see the finished results. I think I need one more jewel up on top. There we go. See, I still can't figure that out. Let me move this one over. So I'm done. So there are, from that stamp and die set and the stencil, so many different ways that you can create cards. I know odd is best. I usually do things in 3s and 5s, but it just looked like it was missing something. There's this one. And this one. And the stencil. So just fun. And if you when you think about it, in the half hour, 40 minutes, I created you know, I didn't complete them, but I have the hardest part is actually the stamping and the coloring and all that. All that part is done, and now I just have to put the designs together. So I'll just wait a minute, see if anybody has any questions, and I will finish these up and bring them back on Saturday. And we have some show and tell of new products that are coming in, so we'll be able to share that with you too. So if anybody has any questions, we do have a class tomorrow night. It's the Pink Fresh, where you are getting a stamp die and stencil. It's a different set. And the ladies will have an opportunity to make a slimline card into A2 cards with another set that has endless possibilities. So they're just so much fun. And I just, you know, thank you, Pink Fresh, for being innovative and coming out, you know, with all these great ways for us to use our products other than stamping and coloring. So thank you. So I'm going to sign off for now. Everyone, thank you for joining us, and I'll either see you in the store, see you on Zoom, or on Facebook on Saturday. Have a great week.